Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And welcome to 757 Sports Talk. Oh, who's got the USA hat? Coach Young does. Even though it's just basketball, USA. They were celebrating all over the US of A on Sunday. The thrilling win, the gold medal game, 46 years in the making, and the United States hockey team gets it done on the men's side a day after the women rally to beat Canada 2-1 in overtime. The men do it in OT. What a game. Jack Hughes, the game winner. Oh, my goodness. And Connor Hellebuck. Could you play any better in net than that guy as the goalkeeper? How many saves does this guy have? Was it 41 total? Unbelievable. USA gets it done with the coach, Ed Young. I am Matthew Hatfield. What a performance, Ed, and something that was certainly a long time coming. It's been long overdue for the United States to win it. Less than 2 minutes into the OT, they dominated the first quarter. The Canadians dominated the second period, and then Canada had chances in that third quarter, didn't put them away. And if you don't put a team away, it has the fight and the resiliency and resolve of the US of A. You find out what happens.
Absolutely fantastic, tremendous. I didn't see a second of it. Too many other things going on.
How did you not see a second of it? I was captivated by this. This was sports at its finest.
Early in the morning, right? Game's early.
It was early in the morning, but come on.
Church comes first, and after church, I had to do a couple of things, and then I had to drive to Williamsburg for all district select. So I missed everything. I caught some of the talk on the radios. It's tremendous. I love it. It's great, men and women both.
Look at the bloody teeth. Who doesn't love bloody teeth early on a Sunday morning?
Hockey dudes is a different breed, man. Different breed. I'd be wearing full metal gear, face and everything, but I'm not a hockey player. But it's tremendous. I'm so glad. I love the Olympics is big. I've always said, to me, an Olympic gold might be the greatest championship because you're beating the world. Yes. Now, the only thing I would throw out, I wish it was against the Russians like we did in 1980. Well, that would have been even better. Canada is nice. They're great in soccer. But I look at Canada as our friends to the north. But Russia, man, I would love to be able to pow right in the kisser to the Russian national team.
Oh, wow. Well, 1980 is always going to be special and have its own place on the shelf, on the mantle. But this was riveting. And to think, Gary Bettman's against us. We talk about it with professional basketball and with football and baseball. They have the World Baseball Classic. You have the Olympics for the summer for men's basketball. That was great with what Curry and LeBron and KD did. I'm not, knocking that, but there's just something special about Olympic hockey. And this was as captivating as anything you could have, even Stanley Cup, because people remember this more for Hellebuck than what he does with the Winnipeg Jets. That's just the fact of the matter. And, the 1980 team is always going to be where it is. Nobody's taking that. But this 46 years, just to see the raw emotion and the guts poured out by these competitors. And then to see Johnny Gaudreau, the late Johnny Gaudreau's kids out there. I mean, if that doesn't bring a tear to your eyes, it gets you, melts you. The hardened edge, doesn't soften you inside like butter where you're going to melt. I don't know what does, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, I had to be there for it. Probably people don't know, if I'm not mistaken, former National Hockey League player Was he an Olympic team member before his death? Because he wasn't very old when he passed.
Yeah, he's a former United States hockey player. Exactly.
Yeah, see,
correct.
That right there would be the icing on the cake, bringing him out.
11 years, dies at the age of 31. I mean, that's what I'm saying. This was a melting. And you had former greats like Mike Eruzione, who scored the game-winning goal in attendance. I mean, this had everything that you wanted or needed. It really did. What else did it lack? It didn't lack anything, really.
And it's big because it's the only third gold medal, 1960, 1980, and this one. It's
and the women do it too, by the way. The women get upstaged by this, but what their win was epic and tremendous. But to do it both against Canada, just wonderful.
It's absolutely tremendous. Canadians and Canada known for their hockey.
Mm-hmm.
United States not really known for it, but today known for it, and etched in stone that from this point on, Hockey Cup, the World Hockey Cup will be coming up later. We're in there. United States is in there, and I like the idea. I did hear some debate about sending National Hockey League guys. That debate to me was over a long time ago. As long as other countries are sending their pros, I've always said we should have sent our pros, even though most of the time we never did until the last 4, 5, 6 Olympics. But it's just tremendous. There's no asterisks. There's no small print. We won. The United States won the gold.
Absolutely. Well, even though you didn't get a chance to watch it, and I watched almost every second of it, the 41 shots for Canada, the 26 for the USA, and then the winning goal there with, of course, Jack Hughes. Hellebuck was great. We did find out that your brother was watching it. We got video of your brother. Do you want to see this?
I didn't think my brother was really into hockey.
Yeah, here he is. Watch it. This is your brother. Since we can't show you the actual hockey match, here's your brother on the couch. That's him watching this, the very end of it. You're going to see what your brother does at the end of this. Watch this. He gets all excited.
Go, come on.
He's saying, come on. The knees moving like coach.
Go, come on.
Up and down, up and down. The winning goal. Here it comes. Your brother was pretty pumped up and psyched for that. Or was that your neighbor? I might have got bad intel. Was that your next door neighbor or your brother?
I didn't look anything like my brother at all, but
okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's a brother from another mother. I'm not sure, but
yeah,
I thought he was going to dive out the window or smash the TV. Thank God he didn't do either one.
No, he didn't do that. That's if a kicker misses a field goal is what happens there. Keep it tuned. We got more coming your way here on 757 Sports Talk, including big deal or little deal on college hoops. We'll go through the high school basketball playoff brackets and some interviews, including sound from a coach that beat Ed. Ed's not too excited about that. But we also got, when we come back here, the head basketball coach of the Poquoson Bull Islanders, who got themselves a nice win. Jeremy Jordan. It's all coming your way here on 757 Sports Talk. And they're watching where, Ed?
Kova Sports TV.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
Trust me, folks, he's plenty evil on this particular Saturday, but we bring in a guy who's far from it. A very nice guy and a winner, too. He's the head basketball coach of the Poquoson Bull Islanders, a record of 261-99 in his 15 years at Grafton, where he led the Clippers to a couple of state championships, and now has Poquoson advancing in the playoffs for the first time since, I think, BC. I don't even know what it is. He'll give us the answer if he knows that Jeremy Jordan, his team, knocks out King William, who was 15-4, Ed. Seth Green with 16 points. Eli Green with 14 points. I'm assuming their brothers will tell us if I'm wrong. And Dom Galatgak, football standout, too, with 12 points, 58-48 over the Cowboys. We say hello and congrats to Coach Jeremy Jordan. Coach, good to have you on the program. And make sure you're nice to Ed this morning because he's a grumpy, angry guy today.
Hey guys, good morning. Glad to join you guys. It's been a while since I've been on the broadcast, but I'm excited to be back this morning and fresh off a big win for our program last night.
Yeah, I know we were looking through the archives. I haven't got an answer. I'm not sure if Lynn out there or Marty O'Brien or somebody can figure out. Do we know the last time Poquoson's won a region basketball game? Has it happened before?
I mean, from what I've been told, it's been 7 to 8 years was the number that was being tossed around.
Okay.
Late last night. So Marty was texting me on the way back on the bus ride, and he was going to do some digging. And, but we set out as one of our goals going into the season was to make some progress in the district. We're one of the, us and Bruton are the only 2A schools in the Bay Rivers. So, one of our goals was to win more games in the Bay Rivers and be super competitive night in and night out and just compete and be prepared on a daily basis. And then, we knew that, when the initial region seedings came out, we were kind of tracking in that 11 spot. And, Region 2A has 17 teams and, they only take the top 10. So we knew that there was some work that we had to do down the stretch. And we were able to to win a couple games. And Central Lunenburg went on a little bit of a losing streak. And, we slipped into that 10 seed. And our guys were, very excited to just have an opportunity to showcase who we are. And this new style of Poquoson basketball that we're trying to implement here. And, clearly Poquoson's a very predominantly known to be a wrestling, baseball, and football school. So it's kind of uncharted territory, but we're, really excited the direction that we're going. And we're, very fortunate to have an opportunity to play last night and beat a talented King William team on their home floor last night.
Yeah, I know it's why you want to come back to your alma mater and by the administration. I know then with Mike Whittington at the time as the AD brought you in to be the head coach, which you did at Grafton. And before I let Ed jump in here, and I say this somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but I also mean it seriously because some look at the Bay Rivers District for basketball. You mentioned it, the success in wrestling and baseball or sports football too. It's not known as much, but the league has been getting better over the years, and I think you're a tribute to that. And you played 2 tough battles with Ed's squad. You won at his place. Earlier in the season, 39-36. He returned the favor and got you at your place, 47-32, 8 days ago. But playing some of the larger classification schools like Warhill, like Lafayette, like Smithfield, some 4s in there, how much has that helped you as you get ready for the playoffs? Take us through that if you can.
I mean, it's helped a tremendous amount. We only have the Bay Rivers is now comprised of enough teams that we, play 20 district games. So, even, when I went out and found, some of our non-conference schedule. I mean, Matt and Coach, you guys know me, for many years, I've always tried to schedule, opponents that were just as good, if not better than most instances than I knew with where our program was at that time. So, we were fortunate to play a Heritage and play a Kecoughtan. And I just knew that would reap some benefits for us. Whether we won or lost those games early on in the year was a little bit irrelevant. It was just about getting exposure and playing talented teams, playing teams that I knew that we could potentially see come, the region type of format with how we have to play. And we can't simulate what we see most nights, in practice. So, that was kind of one of the key things for me was to go out and face talented teams that I knew, would press us, would make us uncomfortable. With the goal with helping us grow night in and night out. And, again, I think this year, 10 games this year, came down. We were down, 1 or 2, or up 1 or 2 in 10 or 11 of those games. We lost, by 2 to Lafayette and had the ball, with the chance to win there. We lost, by 2 to Warhill, at Warhill. We lost to Grafton in double overtime by 1. We lost to Tab at the buzzer, and there was a host of other games that we were, kind of super competitive. And we beat Bruton, here in overtime, and we lost to Bruton, by 1 up there a couple weeks ago. So, I've been very pleased with our guys. I would say that. Out of the 23 games that we've played this year, I don't really recall an instance where when I got back to the locker room, I never had to have the conversation that we, didn't give it all we had, and sometimes that wasn't good enough from a win-loss perspective, but just, being able to come out and compete on a nightly basis, has been really fun to watch in year 2.
Chat with Jeremy Jordan. He's the head basketball coach of the Poquoson Bull Islanders, who defeated the King William Cavaliers on the road 58-48. They'll now travel to take on number 2 seed Thomas Jefferson of Richmond, Ed, coming up in Tuesday's quarterfinals, a team that was ranked number 9 in our last Virginia Preps Class 2 top 10 at 15-4 overall. It is Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, and interact with us. Coach.
Hey, Jeremy, first of all, congrats on the win. I had you over King William in a close one.
Don't lie. You're a copycat.
Hatfield had King William in a blowout.
That's a lie. He saw the pics. Don't lie.
And but I knew you would get that one. Now I'm just going to say it out loud. You're on your own against Thomas Jefferson.
Right.
I'm going to leave it at that because they got some athletes, they got some up and down people, and they got people you got 2 or 3 guys they can put out there, hit those threes too. So it'll be here, but I'm going to stay impartial right now, but probably when I have to pick, I'll probably go Poquoson 21-18.
Well,
you'll kick a field goal or hit a field goal right at the end to win it. But no, I know coming into the Bay Rivers myself when I came in, one of the first things I thought of was, hell, I got to go against Jeremy Jordan and his crew. Because Jeremy, you do have a great way of, I'm not going to call it, some people say slow down or deliberate. I think you play an extremely disciplined style of basketball that a lot of us other coaches don't get from our guys, where your kids don't make a lot of dumb mistakes, play with the quote within themselves. And then you force coaches to make moves. And a lot of times coaches don't because they rely on their athletes. I told you when you beat us at our place, I said, you son of a gun, I think I got something for you next time. And I remember you telling me when we beat you, you said, you son of a gun, you beat us at our own game. And it wasn't so much that it was tough to have our kids to play more discipline, but that's what we worked on going on into your game. But it was something we wanted to do anyways. You know, I steal from everybody, and I stole the idea of playing more disciplined style games from you when we play other people. We have too many kids just want to go up and down. Right. That's why the doggone fans catch the ball. When you came to Poquoson, and I remember when you did this, I even said to you, Jeremy, are you all right? Did you fall, bump your head? I mean, you've done a tremendous job at Grafton, and you wanted the new challenge. And I ask you now, I think in year 2, you've really put yourself over. But what were some of those things that coming into Poquoson, maybe 1 or 2 things that you said, okay, this is what I have to do?
Yes, I mean, so just a little bit of a background. You know, I played here. I went to school here. My family lives here. I have a daughter who's in 8th grade here in the Poquoson City school system, and a son who is a aspiring basketball player and athlete in the 5th grade. So, I knew that my move here was going to be at some point, in my career. Grafton was spectacular for me. Nothing but great things to say about the opportunity, that Laura Parker and Clark Ward and, Principal Gavin and, all that administration afforded me the opportunity to, hang my hat at Grafton for 15 years. Unbelievable experience, great kids, great program. And we built that to be, kind of a state powerhouse, which I was really proud of. And, I knew that coming home was imminent at some point. And, when I made that decision, I think when Matt did the article, many coaches across the state, they, like you and a little bit, Coach, thought something was wrong with me. Why in the world would I, want to make a move over here? And when they heard the background story, they understood it. But you always have, some sweet ties, back to your hometown. And it's where I wore the uniform. I was a 2-year captain as my junior and senior year. And, we had some success back in 2001 and 2002. And I knew it can be replicated again. You just our youth programs. I mean, I'm going back to the grassroots level now. Our youth programs at the Parks and Rec level have increased by about 40%. Our student section, here at Poquoson has been unbelievable. So many of our youth players that are in the rec leagues, come with their parents to basketball games on Friday night. We had a tremendous crowd travel to King William last night in support of our guys and our program. And there's a buzz about Poquoson basketball, which hasn't existed in quite some time. And, I knew that I didn't have the caliber of athlete that I had at Grafton, and that's okay. So I knew that we had to be extremely disciplined. One thing was for sure, I was going to, still find ways to play, what I think, is one of the best defenses for high school basketball, which is the pack line defense that Tony Bennett used to run an institute at Virginia. So I made sure I brought that with us. And then we just hung our hat on trying to be strong and physical and tough and take charges and, do all those little things. And then on the offensive side of the ball, make sure that we're taking the best shot, possible. Not a lot of high school teams are very disciplined. And that really kind of helps us on a nightly basis. Because again, I think, Coach, I think you mentioned it after the first game, you kind of got caught in the spider web. And, what we try to do is we try to take away the opposing team's, top player, top scorer. We watch a ton of film. My guys were in here at 8:30 this morning, after getting back at 10:30 last night. We're in here watching film, breaking down Thomas Jefferson. I stayed up till 2:00 watching film on other games. So, we're going to be prepared, against this talented Thomas Jefferson team. Maurice Jefferson, Isaiah Harris, Justin Callaway. We have a good understanding of what those guys do and what makes them, successful. So, again, I told our guys we're playing with house money now, moving forward. So, I think we'll be prepared. I think we'll go and compete. We just hope to get it to halftime, with the score in the 20s. And just keep it within reach, right? Keep it to a 2 or 4 point game with about 4 minutes to go, and then just see where the chips may fall. So, our guys are tired this morning, but they're in working in the gym right now, getting some shots up, and they're really excited about what's to come on Tuesday night.
He has a very tough Vikings team, as you mentioned, Isaiah Harris, a UVA football pledge. And certainly Ed's jealous of you from one perspective, Jeremy, that you're still playing and he isn't. But when I told him you were coming on the show this morning, he was more jealous about something else. You mentioned your son, of course, right? And as many in this show know, Ed is a big New York Yankees fan. And as we put up on the screen here, your son just pulled a single Topps 2026 Series 1 blaster of Aaron Judge. Ed wants his Aaron Judge card. Your son got one, he didn't. So Ed's very upset about this. He's going to steal your son's card if he gets the chance. So you better tell your son to hide it from Coach Young.
I love it. Yeah, so I'm a big sports memorabilia collector and have been for many years. My father introduced me to it, when I was a young kid. And, my son Hayden, he shares that same affection for sports cards and memorabilia. And he had a basketball game last Saturday. And after he won his game, he came home and my wife had put together a little Valentine's Day, kind of a basket for the kids. And one of which was a Topps one that she got from Dick's Sporting Goods. They had just done the release. And she picked one up, and out of a $25 blaster box, that Aaron Judge 101 card. I mean, people couldn't believe it over the Sports Card Nation that one card came out of a $25 blaster, and it's actually a couple $1,000 card. So he's really excited about that, and that was an awesome moment for him and us to kind of celebrate together, last weekend.
That's really cool. Really cool. And you can't have his card. Don't steal it from the poor kid. You cannot take his card.
I'm not worried about the card. I will get one. I've got enough Yankee stuff. I'll get one.
Okay.
I have already offered a kid a incentive to transfer eventually to Smithfield, so he doesn't have to put up with his dad's 28-16 type of games. So he dropped 25 for us. And I got some other sports memorabilia for him. So he's mulling over the idea. And, we've been in conversation. I have another appointment set up with him later on. And we'll go from there. So, at least he wants to listen. He's going to listen. That's the key.
I love it.
Really cool. Really cool. Well, just a quick thought here before we let you run here. As you look at the whole Class 2 landscape, because I know you're a basketball junkie too, Coach. Just what's your thoughts on just the picture in general? Because this is a year people talk about it. Oh my goodness, John Marshall's not the same John Marshall. They are in your region though, by the way. So it's a team that can certainly run into you or anybody as far as the region tournament goes here. As I'll put it back up on the screen here. What's in front of us for Region 2A as far as the rest of the tournament is concerned here? As I put it now on the screen here, I think there we go. Greensville County is the number 1 seed. Bruton's going to play John Marshall, Armstrong, Arcadia. But across the board, it feels pretty wide open. We mentioned on the show earlier, Martinsville lost a heartbreaker to Gretna. You got Floyd County out that way. Union in Region 2D is pretty good. It feels like Class 2 is pretty wide open with, obviously Ty Wett leaving John Marshall to go to Petersburg this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a chance really to focus primarily on all of the teams in the 2A region. I've watched film on every team out there because I just didn't know where we'd slot in for the region side. And obviously our focus, was on King William last week. It's on Thomas Jefferson, on Tuesday night. But there's some talented teams. There's some really good athletes across the region. Some good scores too. I do think that every team has their, some things that they're really good at. And then there's us, right? We just play such a different style than, the remaining teams. I mean, we're watching these scores, like for King William, for example. We watched one of their films the other night, and they scored 36 points in the first quarter. So we got to halftime last night, and it was 27-15. We'd held them to 15 points in the half. So again, the way we play defense and the style is we're different than the remaining 8 teams in 2A, and we're okay. It's okay to be different, because being different does share some challenges for other teams to prepare for us. So we run a lot of intricate sets and stuff, and hopefully they might not have as much time to prepare for us for Tuesday night, but we know that they're going to come get us. We know that they're going to come press us full court, different variations of traps and things like that. So, for us, it's all about trying to, manage each possession and not give them what we define as unforced turnovers, which lead to layups. Try to make it a half court game and really make them work, offensively to score the basketball. So, and then on the offensive side of the ball, just to be patient and take good quality looks and set up some of our backdoor cuts and some things that we're good at. But again, we're excited about Tuesday night. They've moved the game to Huguenot High School on Tuesday night at 7. So it's we'll play Thomas Jefferson still, but it'll be at Huguenot High School, is my understanding.
Good to know for any Poquoson fans that want to make the trip up there on Tuesday and support the Bull Islanders in their matchup against the Vikings of TJ from Richmond. And winner moves on to the regional semifinals in Class 2 Region A. Jeremy Jordan, head basketball coach over at his alma mater, Poquoson High School. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Always a pleasure, and I'm sure we'll talk again with you soon. And Ed's going to already be on the phone. He's paging your son to make sure he gets some playing time over at Smithfield. That's his quest now.
I read the rules. It's not recruiting when they're under 8th grade, so we can't terminate for that. And you're allowed to offer NIL deals. I can't divulge what it is, but he will have his image on a card if he plays at Smithfield. He'll have.
I love it.
One of one
card, okay.
And then we'll run some stuff against Jeremy when we play against him that his son will be the center of focus.
Well, guys, thanks for having me this morning. I really appreciate it. Go Islanders.
Hey, Jeremy, go out and win it. I'm hoping it's you and Bruton in the final. That way I can go Bay Rivers all the way.
Be pretty sweet. I mean, my gosh, you talk about 2 classic games against Bruton. We won a game in overtime here, and then we lost a 1-point game over there a couple weeks ago. So how awesome would that be for us in a regional final? We got a long way to go to get to that point. Like I said, there's incredibly talented teams that we're up against moving forward, but we're excited.
No, I think you hit on a good point, Coach, before we let you run, is that okay, you might not be as talented as some of the Bay Rivers teams as teams in the Peninsula, Southeast Nation, but the fact that all of you from New Kent to Warhill to Smithfield, Bruton, you guys have played so many close games. I don't think the kids are as spooked in some of these moments. So that does potentially give you a big plus in some of these tight ball game situations.
No question.
Former PD guys like Chris Orlino and Daryl Barber chime in here on the program, interact with us. Always a pleasure, Coach. You be well, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
All right, I'm here with Warhill head basketball coach Paul Hall. He's breathing a sigh of relief now because his team survives and advances to the regional semifinals. They outlast the Smithfield Packers 41-38, rallying from 10 down to win it. Coach, if I told you coming in you scored 41 points, just 2 above your previous season low of a game against Poquoson that you actually won, would you believe you pulled it out tonight?
Well, we won a lot of ugly games, Matt, to be honest with you. Our style is grinding up on defense. And when we do what we're supposed to do, we're a pretty solid defense team. Tonight, the ball just wasn't going in the basket. And so a lot of times when our shots don't fall, our defense goes down. But luckily, tonight we were able to keep playing hard despite struggling on offense.
And the unsung hero is not a guy related to Nate Tiny Archibald. Instead, it's 6'5" sophomore forward Charlie Archibald. He scores 10 of his 13 points in the fourth quarter. What got him going in the final stanza?
I can't say on camera. Okay. So I told you got to step up. I told you got to step up because you're a much better ball. He was shooting it short. Again, nerves. Yeah. We don't play in front of these big crowds in Warhill, unfortunately. Maybe we can get our guys start coming out. But our crowd's kind of small. That was a loud crowd, noisy crowd. Yeah. I think nerves were getting to our guys a lot.
Yeah, I think the fan bases came out to support both of you guys, Warhill and Smithfield. And without his jumper, mid-range, and his 2 free throws, you might have pulled this out here. Early on, both teams started out struggling, 2 of 12 in the first quarter. You're down 10 in the second and third periods, but it felt like you did a better job in the second half of not letting Jaden Sheeran kind of control the paint. Was that part of the plan or adjustment?
Well, we started double teaming. Yeah. We started double teaming because I'm like, man, he's too big, too strong to just keep letting him back us down. So when he guarded it, we just ran at him. He doesn't pass that well at the double team, so we ran it. He threw it away a couple times. Right there at the end, he got a turnover. So we just don't know, man. It was a tough game.
You knew that coming in, too, that there are two guys, Tim Giles and him, 13 and 16, I think it was, for sure.
Guys on the scout report.
Yeah, I mean, just make 3 through 5 beat you. And then you beat a team like this in Smithfield with your former coaching mate from years at Nans, whenever you battled with him, you were at Western Branch, and Ed Young, twice that were close. Were you kind of a little bit nervous, apprehensive? Of course, they always say it's hard to beat a good team 3 times, as you hear that saying all the time, right?
That's what we talked about the entire time, was that we beat them twice. They're going to want it more. We got to be hungry. And in the first half, it seemed like they wanted more. We were kind of nervous. We kind of, laid back. A lot of times we have a tendency to kind of play to the level of competition. And they were actually playing very well, making shots. Giles was getting to the hole. Jaden was kind of handling things. And, I just kept running different bodies in, trying to wear him down a little bit. I really got on Shamar because he's our best defender. He was struggling a little bit. I said, hey, you got to do something. So, he turned it up. We kind of go as Shamar goes. When he turns it up, it's a big difference.
Yeah, Shamar McCray makes you go. And also Jaden McClain in the first half, he made some shots. And again, there wasn't a lot of shots. If he doesn't make some of those, you might have been down more, correct?
Right. Well, he was the only one hitting shots the first half. And I told him, it can't just be Jaden shooting threes. It can't just be Jaden. We got to do something else. And so, luckily, and then, like I said, during the first half, it wasn't that we were getting good looks. They just weren't falling. Yeah. Our big guys were nervous. They was dropping the ball. So as the game went on, we started catching it. Started getting some shots. We turned our defensive pressure up, got some turnovers. That's really what gets us going. I didn't want to press too much the first half, because then we got used to it. So we kind of held it off to the second half. And we don't really press. We just kind of pressure a little bit.
You got the pace up in the fourth quarter, which
was a little bit.
No question. Lastly, despite the up and down roller coaster of this game, the loss last week to Gloucester was unexpected. You guys are 17 and 6, and this is year 2 for you at the helm. To be a win away from states, what's that mean as you try to build this Warhill program up?
But matter of fact, 17 wins, that ties the school record, to be honest with you. We've talked a lot about, setting the tone, becoming, something special. It's only 4th winning season in school history. 2 of them has been since I've been there, not bragging, but that's
it matters.
So we've just been trying to set the tone, set the tempo, trying to build the kind of standard that I've built at other programs. And they're grasping it. We still have a long way to go. The good thing is, win, lose, or draw, next game we got almost the entire starting 5. Well, the entire starting 5 is coming back. So we should be pretty good. Our top 5 scores are coming back.
Future's bright for Coach on the Lions. Good to win tonight. Thank you so much. All the best.
All right, thank you.
Okay, here with Hampton Crabbers head basketball coach Eric Byrne. His team wins at 74-60 of the Manor Mustangs to move to 22-1. Coach, 22 consecutive victories. This was a 4-point game in the third quarter, then an 8-0 burst as you guys got a dunk from Abraham Taft. You drew a charge. Did you feel like at that point you had the momentum and you kind of were going to exhale? You could dodge the upset bid, if you will, which happens all the time in playoff basketball?
I mean, I didn't exhale because we just won't execute. Okay. We just won't execute at all. I tried to tell them the story about our 18 team. We had the same scenario. We played Salem at Norcom. Beat them by 37, I think, and then turned around and played them in the scope. He was there, and Northfleet hit the jumper at the buzzer to win. And I said, they coming in here to play. You can't go by whatever happened in December. You got to play basketball. They playing for their season. You playing for your season. And, I told them, I said, we've been in this exact same spot before.
But the fortunate part of that was a region championship game. So it was a winner-go-home game, an elimination deal.
Right.
Now, early on, though, you established Gavin Kane. I'm seeing more of he's a soft-spoken young guy for you, but his skills, he can play with the basket. The other night against Bethel, he's blocking shots left and right. Certainly, he and Abraham Taft are your headliners. And tonight, they combined for 41 points, 18 rebounds. What have you seen from his growth and maturation, his evolution as a player?
I mean, he's just been growing. He's been battling some leg injuries and stuff like that, so he doesn't have the same bounce he's had in the past because he never had a chance to really rehab, but he's been battling all year for us. He's still been a great defensive presence. I thought he had great moves around the basket tonight. His spin moves, spinning away from the double team, which we've really been working on because he gets doubled so much. And he's finally taking the middle of the floor. We've been telling him, take the middle of the floor. Stop trying to take the baseline. He finally took the middle of the floor a couple of times tonight. And, he was finishing. I thought that he did a great job in rebounding for us. Like I said, finishing inside. But his touches was improved so much, and he makes his free throws now. So you can't just say we're going to foul him because he's out there, because he'll knock his free throws down at the end of the game.
Yeah, he had a big jumper for you, too, when they were trying to get on a run here. And I didn't ask him because I don't want it to be bulletin board material or something for referees, but it's hard to officiate big guys. He's always getting grabbed, touched all the time, and, he commands so much attention. But it opens up the whole floor for you, for your entire group. And the other night, Juwan Tucker shot lights out against Bethel. Tonight, he hits a key 3 for you to kind of get you going because Manor has some 3-point snipers. They're not an ordinary 8 seed.
No. We knew when they fell to 8, and they had that big win against Lake Taylor, which was posted one of the higher teams in our region. So we knew that would give them confidence. And then they're playing for, they're playing with a little bit of revenge. Then you're playing for your season. Yeah. You're playing for your season. You're gonna let it hang all out. And I'll try to make sure and tell them, fellas, we're gonna have to play. Yeah. Like we're gonna have to play. You can't just, it's kind of like our 2012 team when we barely got out here against Bayside. Like you're gonna have to play basketball because everybody's in the playoffs. And my thing I always say, if you're playing them in the playoffs, they're in the same spot you in. Yeah. Then they earn their way here. No matter what, the seeding to me doesn't matter. Yeah. You have to play. It's 8 teams in the playoff. Whoever you match up with, you got to execute and play and defend. And whoever does that the best consistently throughout the game will win the game.
Well, it feels like this team has all the components. We spoke about it in December after you beat Massaponax in the Iverson Showcase. You have bigs, you have shootings, you have guards, you have depth, you have all the necessary ingredients. It's just a matter of bringing your A game because if you bring your A game, you can beat anybody anytime.
Yeah. I feel like if we really playing. And we're the best version of ourselves, we're a tough out. We're going to be a tough out for anyone.
Is that harder or easier to do that in the playoffs as far as getting the motivation up? Because that can be a little bit, complacent regular season. You're on a win streak. What's kind of your mindset or mood? Because you've been doing this for a while doing this with them.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the motivation part. Okay. I think sometimes your team needs to be woken up, and like I referenced that 2012 team, we got woken up because it could have all fell apart. And, we luckily we cleaned it up. We're going to watch this film tomorrow so we can scout ourselves first, before we worry about anybody else. We need to worry about ourselves and the mistakes we made tonight in our execution. Guys will get treatment and all that. But, we got the streak going. Like I told you before, I ain't really counting, but, everybody else is counting. So, sometimes, I told the kids before the game, but we don't need the style points. We just need to be 1 point. In the playoffs, you just need to be 1 point better. The style points don't matter no more. We had a great regular season. Yes, our regular season was great. Now, everybody that's playing now trying to win 6 games. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And our whole goal was just win. I don't care if it's ugly, just win the game. And we'll advance, and then we'll work on whatever we messed up on.
A W is a W. Thank you so much. All the best.
All right. This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
All right, time to go through some brackets with 5 of our most intriguing matchups, regions, themes. Ed, Region 6A, coming up on Tuesday night, February 24th. It's Lansdowne Oscar Smith at the Dollar Dome in Chesapeake, while Manchester hosts Western Branch, which upended LC Bird. We both have Lansdowne advancing, but the winner of Lansdowne Oscar Smith, they seem to meet every time, it feels like, in the playoffs, region semis, region finals, state semis. It tends to be a classic.
Yeah, that's a big one. 757 flavor, Lansdowne Oscar Smith. A lot of athletes, very somewhat similar styles. Lansdowne very guard-oriented. I look for Lansdowne to pull it out. Manchester, Western Branch. That's a good one, too, but I think Manchester's too much.
And, by the way, Alon Walker coming on to compliment those guards of Damian Robinson and Rashad Shaw for Dwight Robinson's Eagles. How about Kenny Harris's Stallions? They're trying to win their 4th consecutive region championship, but that team lurking at the bottom of the bracket, the number 2 seed, Princess Anne, swept them this year. Not the girls, but the boys.
2 wins for PA over Green Run. So if they both get there, they got to get by some people first. They're going to have something. PA's going to have something to say to Green Run about trying to get into that regional for what? 4th straight regional win?
4th straight regional championship. Yeah, Ed's got Kellum. I've got Salem in that head-to-head matchup. And by the way, Kempsville did take down Indian River early this year. Ed, you were there at Norview for the quarterfinals on Saturday to watch the Granby Comets fall to Woodside by 25. Woodside, they've won 3 straight regional championships, 2 under Stephon Welsh. They have to knock out the top-seeded Pilots, though, led by Keon Fats Mitchell. And it's a Suffolk rivalry, Chapter 3, Nansman Kings Fork. Another showdown awaits.
Well, they got some for Fats Mitchell because they had some for Granby. They opened up in a triangle and 2-on-2 Granby's main scores and mentally took them right out of the game. Game was over, and by 2-3 minutes into the first quarter, that game was over. So Woodside will have something for Norview. And then Nancy River takes on Kings Fork 3rd time. Big rivals out of Suffolk. The thing about this, Matt, both these two games will be a knockout, drag 'em type match. Neither winner might have a whole lot left when the championship comes Saturday.
Well, it's going to be Friday night. It's scheduled for Northview High School at the moment, but that could shift to Old Dominion, so keep it tuned to your local listings and all your different outlets, Virginia Preps, Cova Sports TV, you name it, to find out where that game is come Friday for the region championship, whether it's Northview, Woodside, or Nansman, Kings Fork, moving on there. How about on the girls' side in Class 5? We know Princess Anne's undefeated, the Queens, led by Coach Darnell Dozier, Micah Ojo. Some good teams in that region like Deep Creek and Kellam and Salem, but it feels like a collision course with Princess Anne and Menchville in the States. Perhaps the championship as Adrian Webb's team, led by the JMU signing Maddie Leach, put up 95 points on Granby in the quarterfinals. 95 is a lot, Ed. 95.
I'm going to predict Menchville, PA, regional championship. Menchville, PA, if the bracket's right, state championship.
Well, they can't meet in the region. They're in two different regions, but they probably will meet in the state championship.
Okay, put it down. State championship.
All right. And I don't see anybody else in Class 5 really touching those two teams there. And then we go down to Class 3 for the girls for a moment here. New Kent's the number 1 seed in girls, just like the boys. Question for you. Will New Kent win a championship on either side, girls or boys? Lake Taylor girls with Sandra Sawyer. They've got pedigree, experience. Hopewell and Petersburg, not too shabby either.
New Kent boys and girls, very great year for both. Both are going to struggle to get out of the region.
And we've got some teams that already have been knocked out from a chance to repeat on the boys' side of things. When you look at South Lakes, didn't qualify, Ed. When you look at Spotswood, your buddy Chad Edwards' team didn't get through. We have some other teams that are going to be on the bubble here for their first game of regionals coming up. We know Robin Dotson's the ringmaster in girls in Class 2. So there's some interesting storylines that await us. And there's already been some surprises, including the finish of that Martinsville game with them and Gretna. Gretna took them down. Garfield with one loss in the year, 24-1, got knocked out by Independence. So there's always a couple of upset surprises. Is there a sleeper out there you like more than anybody else? Or anybody you say, I'm watching this team really hard here, girls or boys?
No, most of my eyes are on 1s and 2 seeds for the most part. I don't think you're going to see a 6-7. That I don't think you're going to see that.
6-7, 6-7.
6-7's not happening.
Not happening. Okay, so you don't see that happening. You think it's going to be mostly chalk. Although you do have a 4 seed winning the whole thing on the boys' side, and that being the Petersburg Crimson Wave.
It's a little different 4 seed than normal.
They are a little different 4 seed. There's no question about that. Class 1, I'm fascinated to see what happens in that region, too, on the boys' side with Northumberland, Lancaster, and Rappahannock, because they've all been pretty equal for the most part. Rappahannock knocked off Northumberland once late in the year. Lancaster's been there a lot of times, so should be some interesting storylines as that all moves it along. And then we'll be there for VCU and the state championships coming up in March at the Siegel Center, where they can watch all the games, all those fans out there on the NFHS network. If you don't make the trip up there to the 804 in Richmond, we'll see how many championships are brought home to the 757 and what storylines await as we move it along. We have you covered with our Tournament Central pages up on virginiapreps.com. We've got more coming your way here on this edition of 757 Sports Talk, including Big Deal or Little Deal. It's always a big deal when Coach Young is here and you're watching with us. Where at, Ed?
It's the best place to be, Cova Sports TV.
Oh, my goodness. It's snowing like crazy out here. It's like a blizzard. Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. That reminds me, didn't Coach Ed Young say it wasn't going to snow anymore in the month of February? I think he did. Tisk, tisk, tisk.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
What do you have to say for yourself, sir?
It's not that big of a deal. It was a mistake. And I would say by tomorrow, 9 a.m., we'll never see another drop of snow until the end. No, till 27. Probably end of January 27th.
Stop with these declarations. We already had a 2-hour delay for school because of you.
Hey, you get to sleep in. You're welcome.
Anyways, let's get to big deal or little deal. College basketball style. You ready?
Bring it.
Bring it, he says. Big deal or little deal? Seton Hall shoots 0 for 18 from 3 and beats Georgetown 51-47 at home. Is that a big deal or little deal?
I'm going to say little deal, but bad deal for Georgetown. Once when we say Georgetown, they were Big East Goliaths Monday night. Can't wait for the Big East game. Georgetown involved, Patrick Union, of course, the coach John Thompson. All of that seems so long ago that a team goes over 18 from 3 and still beats them. That's not good for Georgetown.
No, I'm with you. It's a little deal because Georgetown's El Stinko. Sorry, Super E. We love Super Eric Rogers up there, who's a diehard Hoya fan, and they've gotten guys from the 757 like Alonzo Mourning, which leaps to mind immediately from the days of John Thompson and Hoya Paranoia. But Seton Hall is not much better. They hit a 3-point shot and they won the game. I'm not sure they're getting in the tournament doing that. Yeah. Let's go to big deal or little deal. You know, I love this one. Our buddy Mick with the trick. Cronin, UCLA was down 23, and they beat an AP top 10 team. Largest comeback against one. They outlast the Illini. Coach Underwood's group with Keaton Vogler, a projected lottery pick, 95, 94 in OT. Donovan Dent went coast to coast, as good as butter and toast, Tyus Edney style. We got to get the man that had the great call on that, Tim Brando, who I've been connecting with a couple of times on the program here soon to talk college hoops. Big deal or little deal? I'm going to say this is a big deal because for UCLA, this helps them get in the tournament, I think.
It's a big deal for nobody else but maybe Mick Cronin. Little hot water the other day when he threw one of his own players out of the game, banished him to the locker room.
Yeah.
Took some heat for that on a hard foul. Went back to apologize, but Mick, be careful. You're not winning championships. You could be wished into the cornfield soon enough, like Jerome Tang was at Kansas State. So big deal, Nick Cronin.
Ting tang, walla walla, bing bang. And you know where Mick Cronin used to coach before he got to UCLA? You remember?
He was at not Louisville.
No,
Cincinnati in the past.
Cincinnati. Well, speaking of Cincinnati, let's go there. The Bearcats, 84-68 in Lawrence. The Jayhawks under Kansas, they're known to self-destruct. Get it? Self-destruct. First loss at home to an unranked foe. What's that?
You like seeing self-destruct.
I do. Lost at home to an unranked team by 10 or more. Since 1993, they had won 425 games they had gone in a row without losing by double figs, to an unranked team. Is this a big deal or little deal? I'll let you go first. Know where I'm going with this. I think it's a big deal.
It's a little deal.
Why?
Cincinnati's not the Cincinnati of old. I get it. And, you put up their 400 wins, 425 game streak. Okay, but that's not something that's going to make them drop down 5 spots in the poll. Does it look good? No, it doesn't. But they're going to win enough games coming up. They'll be in the tournament, and this will be forgotten at that time.
This is a big deal because Darren Peterson is in. He's out of the lineup. I mean, this guy's got more issues than my ailing grandparents before they passed away. This guy's always in and out of the lineup. And Kansas lost at home to a Cincinnati team that had fans putting bags over their heads. This is a big deal. And Bill Self didn't defend Darren Peterson. He kind of got snippy with the media a la Mick Cronin. Oh, this is a big deal, Ed. This is not some small deal. And if it lingers into a loss at home against Houston, who's a much better team coached by Kelvin Sampson, it's an even bigger deal. Trust me, it's a big deal. Let's go to 2 more here. Big deal, little deal. Stay in the Big 12 for a second. Big deal, little deal. BYU gets its first win over a top 10 team. A.J. Davansa. Could he leapfrog ahead of Darren Peterson as the number 1 pick? 29 points, 10 boards, 9 helpers, almost a triple-double. They beat Iowa State by 10. Iowa State, who just beat Houston last week, they've beaten them now 3 times, I think, in the last few years. This is a big deal for BYU, which was out without Richie Saunders. Got hurt last week. This is a much-needed win for BYU. Big deal.
I will concur big deal because it is over. Top 10 foe, a really good team. Iowa State will be in the tournament too. And, this time of the year, you need as many big wins as you can, i.e. against teams that are in the top 20. So I'll give it a big deal for BYU.
And I know Coach is ready to hammer me on this one because I thought Michigan would win by double digits against
And
Duke.
I picked Duke by 5.
Oh, you didn't pick Duke by 5. Cameron Boozer, 7 straight late as they hold off the Wolverines in D.C. Is this a big deal or a little deal?
It's a big deal for Duke because when they're fighting for number 1 seeds, this is going to come up in that meeting because if Michigan does not lose any more games, they'll be a number 1 seed. If you give them a number 1 seed, you got to give Duke a number 1 seed.
I think this is a little deal. I'm going to tell you why. I'm not hating on the Duke win, which is a fabulous win for John Shire and Boozer and that whole Duke team with Patrick Ngamba inside. But it's a little deal because both of these teams are going to be a 1 seed either way. I don't think it drops them down a line. Duke had to get a good win. Yeah, okay, you can say that. But they might see each other again on the Final Four or national championship game. So this was a little deal, and it could have gone either way. They got it down to 1 on a couple of occasions. This was a toss-up game, and if they played 10 times, both are good enough to beat each other 4, 5, or 6 times. So this is a little deal. And on the surface, it's a great game. It's great for the sport, but it's not that big a deal, honestly. Truth be told, it's not. So there you have it. That's going to close out this episode of 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. For the coach, Ed Young, I'm Matthew Hatfield, and we'll see you next time, snow or no snow, right here on the program. USA, USA, USA.